think you asked me about The Crown, and my son started a Netflix subscription, and I was like, ooh, can we get a profile on your account? And he said, sure. And so we immediately started watching The Crown again. I was like, oh, I need to contact Catherine because we started this conversation. And now that I've actually continued to watch it, I bet we could have a better conversation.
Right.
And I think other people would be interested in some of our, me from an Enneagram point of view, you from a homeopathic remedy point of view. I think it would be a very interesting conversation.
I agree.
I want to say from my point of view, as far as Enneagram typing goes, it's just really conjecture. It's my best guess based off of the pattern of the behaviors. But whatever I am suggesting does not necessarily mean hardcore. This is their Enneagram type because Enneagram types are based off of motivations. And I'm not having conversations with these people to find out. I'm just really kind of formulating my own opinion. That's why I think this is an interesting conversation because with homeopathy, it really is symptomatic. Like you really are just looking at outside observations.
Well, not just outside observations. It's also about their emotions and their feelings.
That's true.
And that's what made Harry's book such a good book for me to use because he revealed all of that.
Yes.
In the book. Whereas, watching The Crown, I can only guess, just like you, what they must be feeling.
So let's go to Charles.
Okay. And what we know about him from the show.
Based on the series, the way he's portrayed.
Yes.
Or in whatever research that you've done, I haven't been like a royal family, fan.
Me either.
So I think this has made it a little bit more interesting as far as like coming from someone who wasn't like gaga goo goo over the royal family as some of the people who I grew up with were like, oh, Princess Diana.
Right. And on the other hand, also, you're not like, you don't hate the royal family either.
Right. Just neutral.
The opposite.
Yeah, just very a neutral sentiment.
Yes.
So let's go to Charles. I think Charles is a type 4.
Really?
I do. Did I say that in our discussion yesterday?
No, I don't think so.
Well, I think he's a type 4.
Well,
he was always different from the beginning, but he never really, it's like he accepted it. He's like, I'm always going to be different. I'm always going to be picked on or bullied. He also had very artsy interests. And I'm going to do another caveat. Not all type 4s are artists.
Right.
And not all artists are type 4s. However, he has a lot of emotions that he is suppressing, and they come out when he can be creative, artistic. When he went to the second school, the one that wasn't so militaristic, he was able to act. Remember, he was in the drama club. Yes. I'm sure it wasn't called that. Theater. He was doing theater, and he was so proud of himself. He was so happy, and even Elizabeth was like, he's finally happy. But then he was taken away from that and was sent to go learn Welsh so he could give that speech. And he made it into like a performance. And he used, so type 4s use their creativity, which may or may not be artistic, but they use that to express the emotions that they've been suppressing and can't express in words. Like they just don't have the words to express it because there's too many. It's not like a head type would probably be able to find the words, but not directly. They would use poetry. So something that would give the imagery, like they would want to give the imagery of their feelings, hoping that would help the other person understand how they're feeling, and almost an expectation. Like if I tell you this poem, I expect you to know me. And then their anger comes about when it didn't work. Like I gave you all the symbols, but it's so mysterious and it's so cryptic that not everybody understands because it's not direct. And it's just because it's so emotional. It's so emotional that it just doesn't come out. It either doesn't come out coherently or it comes out in just something that's very poetic that people, like poetry is hard to understand. Like,
It
you have to
is.
really study it to understand
Yeah.
it. But that's something that comes very, very easily for a type 4 because they don't have to think about it. They just feel it. They feel the poetry. They feel like the episode of his birthday, his 37th birthday. It was last season. The one where Diana dances for him.
Right.
Before she goes and does that, he is so invested in the performance, and you can see his eyes watering. And I'm going to go back a little bit. When he was in Wales trying to learn Welsh, and his teacher wasn't a big Charles fan because he didn't think he was taking it seriously. And he may or may not have been. But some of the things that got him really excited was the artistry of saying the words. Like when he did the alliterative poem, he's like, oh, this is the exercise we do before we go on stage. And then his teacher, like, are you going to take this seriously? This is not, this isn't a play. This is like real life, and people's lives are, and it sobered him. And he took everything very seriously after that because he was able to feel the emotion of, oh, these people are trapped just like I am. And so then he started to really empathize. And then he used the art of the language to connect with the Welsh people. So that was very type 4. And just the anger, the jealousy and the envy that he has between him and Diana. Like he'll say, you're so self-deluded and self-absorbed, but that's a typical type 4's filter, like attention filter. Because type 4s tend to be self-focused, like type 7s tend to be self-focused also, and type 3s tend to be self-focused. Who else is self-focused? Those are the main ones. And tend to project a lot because of that. But yeah, a lot of the anger of him not being able to be with the person that he loves and
Yes.
having to suppress it and having to hide it. But there's also a little, I don't know. Okay, let me go back. I have too many thoughts in my head. So type 4s are very reactive. So 4s, 6s, and 8s are reactive types. And so you can definitely see that in Philip and Anne, whether she's an 8 or a 6, she is reactive. And Charles is reactive. Diana, I'll just go ahead and say that I think she could be a 4. We can talk about that a little bit, which could be why they butt heads also. At least the way they're portrayed in the series.
Well, I think it's true. I mean, I think that's pretty accurate because they had a whole book about her based on that, that interview.
Right. Have you read the book? I haven't either. I think I'm going to.
I might.
Yeah, Norton's book. I looked it up last night, and it's been revised.
Oh.
So, like 20 years after her passing, they released a new edition. So I'm like, do I read the original or do I read the revised one?
I would read the revised ones. It's probably just got extra information. I think it would be. They would have necessarily changed originally because it was based on those interviews, right?
From what I understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, the name of it is like her story and her words. So how could he say, oh, maybe it's a new title, but because maybe it's not, because before he was adamant, like, I did not interview her. Like, this is from her friends and all that kind of stuff. So maybe now that it's out, he changed
but there was some sly way that he got information. It wasn't like he ignored her.
Right. So like with Diana, I guess we can talk about them both at the same time about being type 4s. She needed to dance. She needed to perform. Like, that was her emotional outlet. At least in the series. She wasn't the most coordinated or the most talented artist in the world. Like, that was one of the things when she sang for him for his birthday, or no, for their anniversary. And that was the conversation that Charles was having with Anne, where he was like, it was ghostly. Like, it wasn't singing, if you could call it that. But that was how she expressed herself, like how she was able to deal with the emotions that she was suppressing. She had to go dance, or all the acts that she was doing for Charles wasn't working. So what was her gift? It was a video of her singing the Phantom of the Opera. And in the hopes that if he listened to the lyrics, that he would understand how much she loved him. But then here's the type 4 button heads. You just don't understand me. I'm trying to tell you who I am in this very cryptic way. Subconsciously, it's cryptic. They think it's straightforward, but it's cryptic. So I'm trying to show you who I am, and you just don't understand. You don't get me. And so now they're butting heads, like fighting for the attention to be understood and to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of doomed. It was kind of doomed from the start.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It was.
So I think if Diana understood that it was an arranged marriage, I don't think she would have said yes.
You're probably right. Yeah.
Because a type 4 is looking for significance, emotional significance, not status significance, like a type 3. If she was a type 3, yes, I'll do it for the title and for the potential of my life betterment.
Mm-hmm.
But for a type 4, it's the fairy tale. They want it for the fairy tale.
And that's certainly what people said about their wedding. That it was a fairy tale wedding. You're probably too young to remember.
It was 90. I was in high school.
Were you?
Yeah.
I was in college.
I'm older than I look.
I guess.
In 1990, I was a sophomore or a junior. Either, it depends.
Yeah, but they got married in the 80s.
Oh, did
they? Got married, I think, in 82.
Oh, that's when she passed away. She passed away in the 90s, right? Okay.
Yes. She passed away in 97.
Okay. So I would have been in college when she passed away. So when they got married, I would have been like first grade. Yeah. I wouldn't have cared. Not that I was very much a tomboy in elementary school. I would not have cared. I was in a tree, like, I don't know, digging a hole somewhere.
That's interesting that you think that they are possibly the same type, because I have thought they possibly needed the same remedy.
Oh, look at us.
The remedy is Adamus, and you would know it better as diamond. And so the diamond can be the person who feels kind of jealous of the other person because of their status, because of the attention they get, because they don't shine as much as that person does. Or they can be the person who shines. I mean, they can be either. This is one of those remedies that, you definitely see clients with either side of it. There's definitely depression with it, like Diana and Charles both had, with all that attention that he gets as prince, but yet she got all the attention because of who she was, and her soft soul and her compassion and all of that. So Diana needs the diamond. And I think that Charles might need the diamond too. That might be his remedy. He's into homeopathy. The royal family is into homeopathy.
Yeah.
So he may very well have had it at some point.
It makes me, like, when you say diamond and I think about type 4s, the phrase diamond in the rough kind of comes to mind. It's like they have so much to give, like so much value, but they're lost. They're lost and can't be seen, and they want to shine and just not able to.
Right.
Yeah. And of course, every type has a subtype, and type 4s are fun to say. So, the self-pres, sexual, and social. It's the glad 4, the mad 4, and the sad 4.
Oh, say that again.
The glad 4.
And that one is which one?
Self-pres.
Okay.
Which is the counter type. And the mad 4 is the sexual type. And that's who I think Charles is. And then the sad 4, which that's what I think.
Diana.
Actually, Diana could be self-pres or social. We tend to have a primary and a stack, like a primary and then a secondary and then a tertiary. I wonder if self-pres is her, because she is kind of a ray of sunshine. So self-pres is probably her primary, which would also explain her binging and purging tendencies.
Okay.
That's self-pres is not necessarily like self-protective or self-focused, but it's about bodily. Like if you're looking at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's just those baseline needs. Like, am I warm enough? Am I comfortable? Am I fed? those kinds of things. And self-pres type 4s tend to be the more grateful of the 4s. They're still focused on their struggles. So struggle would be a word that I associate with type 4s. Type 4s focus on their struggles, but the self-pres type 4s focus on it in terms of gratitude. Like, this is all that I've overcome. And so they have that more ray of sunshine. And they would tend to, when they in stress, when they go to their type 2, be more compassionate, which definitely describes Diana. Like, being more compassionate, like when she's seeing suffering, then she wants to go to and comfort. And it's not because she has the best words to say. What does she do? She just hugs them. She just touches them. She makes them not feel ostracized or like an outcast, because she knows what that feels like. And, as a type 4 knows what it feels like to be a diamond in a rough, to be outcast, to be set apart from the rest of the world and be misunderstood. And so when they see that, when they see the suffering in other people, they just sit with them. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Inside Out. It was a Pixar.
Oh, no, I haven't. No.
So
I've heard it's really good.
It is really good. I would be curious what remedies these characters in Inside Out.
Well, maybe I'll have to watch it.
I did a series on Enneagram types, but sadness. So each of the emotions is a character. But sadness is your typical type 4, but the sad 4, not the glad 4. But in the movie, the sad 4 just goes and sits with this, I forgot his name, but he's kind of an elephant. Bing Bong, I think is his name. Oh. But he's sad. And she just goes over there and just sits with him and cries with him and says, that's really sad. And then he felt better and he went on its way. And that's the type 4 superpower, is to be able to sit with someone in an emotion without necessarily exchanging words or exchanging service, like action. So words would be more of like a head type thing, and doing something about it would be more of the body type. The 8, 9s, and 1s would do that. But emotion is an energy. So the superpower of the type 4 is to sit in that and energetically make someone else feel seen without having to use words, without having to use, to do an act of service, but to convey it through energy, whether it's their presence or their presence that's basically transported through their art, like a song or a painting or, a diary writing, that kind of thing, or a book for Diana.
Right. Oh, that's really interesting. Given that I identify as a self-4, I really do now after this conversation, because, music to me is about the lyrics. It's about the way someone else has been able to come up with how I feel, or how I feel when I hear or sing a song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really identify with that too, but I'm not a 4. I used to think I was a 4.
I remember that.
Yeah, when I first started with the Enneagram, and it's I personally think it's because of trauma. And so people who misidentify as a 4 usually have undergone some trauma, and it's just a layer to be peeled. But I always tell people like that's like a pseudo 4. But there's nothing wrong with being a pseudo 4, because that was a part of my journey. I was a pseudo 4, but it was a part of my journey. It was a layer that I needed to peel off before I really understood that I was a type 7. And the more experience that I have with my clients and with, these kinds of conversations too, of practice, I guess, just practice and observing myself. I still ask myself, am I a pseudo 7? Am I a pseudo 7? But the alternative, there's really no alternative. If you use the process of elimination, when I eliminated 7, it was because I thought I was too responsible. I thought I was too responsible to be a 7. But the truth is that 7s are very responsible. It's just what they're responsible. They choose what they want to be responsible for. But if it has to be fun, it has to be not painful, not torturous or anything like that. But when a 7 finds something that they are very passionate about, that they value, you totally can count on them. They're going to do a good job and they will not let you down. They know how to commit. They're just picky and choosy about what they commit to. It definitely has to bring contentment and
Right.
passion and happiness, and not bring in like pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm glad that helped you with your 4 journey.
Yeah, for sure. It did. It did.
That makes me happy. That was a fun realization, I think, to see that Diana and Charles did not get along because they are so much alike personality wise. And the fact that they're the personality on the Enneagram that is the most envious, like most easily envious. And so if there was any slight introduction for jealousy, like that's hell in a handbasket. It's like, it's not going to work. And from the very beginning, when he said, whatever love is, like whatever in love is, that would crush a 4 to be making a commitment that they thought was based on love. And I don't think she didn't know about Camilla until, when did she find out about Camilla? I know when he left, at least in the series, when he left, he said, I told Camilla to contact you.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he did expect it to be like a not a threesome in that, that kind of way, but that they were going to get along. Like this was all going to work out. If they become friends, then it'll be okay.
Right. Yeah. And she's not at all the type of person that Diana would have been friends with.
Right. Because she would want to be seen, and she would want to.
She's the queen now. She's the queen.
Oh, queen consort.
Yes. I don't know enough about her to make any comments.
So Camilla, me either. I have a 6 with a question mark.
Yeah.
Because she kind of goes back and forth between, we shouldn't be doing this, but then also stays with him because she loves him. So she wants to be loyal, but she also wants to be loyal to her husband. And so there's just like split loyalty, that's going on there. So I just have a 6 with a question mark.
Yeah. I don't have really much to add. And the only thing is, I just don't understand why she was not considered suitable to be his wife when they were young. They never really said that in that show.
Oh, did they not?
No, they never really made it clear. They just didn't want it to happen. When the queen mom took care of it.
Right. Maybe Terry remembers. He remembers details like that. Yeah, they were just like, no, this isn't going to happen.
Right. But I just never heard him say what the issue was with her. And maybe they just didn't want to. Yeah.
Possibly. But they came around in the end. Maybe we'll know more in season 6 when that comes out. It would have solved a lot of problems. It would have prevented a lot of turmoil.
It would have. Yes.
Yeah, before we run out of time, let's just go ahead and go to Elizabeth's.